According to Nicola Tesla, everything is energy. And if you look at quantum physics, the stuff that Einstein studied, I love Einstein. If you look at an atom under a microscope, you will see subatomic particles. And if you look at those subatomic particles under a really, really, really strong microscope, you will see that there is very little matter there. Less than 1%, less than a tenth of a percent, less than 100th of a percent is actually matter or anything physical or density. We are 99.9999999999999% energy, which means that our focus is completely backward. Because if you look at, where we spend our focus, what we're looking at, what we're paying attention to, it's mainly the body. We appear to be physical. I keep trying, cannot put my finger through my hand. And why is that? That's because the particles inside the atoms are spinning so fast that they appear to be a solid. You ever take a glow stick and do this and it makes a big ring? It's the same thing. It looks like a solid ring, but it's not. Yes? All right. So we're going to have some fun. I've been studying quantum physics and Dr. Joe Dispenza, really learning how to tap into different frequencies and how to create from different states since 2019, I think, 2019, 2020, around there. And it's been so much fun to play with. And I want to share with you a couple of these things because it's really quite remarkable when you really start to look at things as energy, as like this mug is energy. I am energy. A tree is energy. And the interactions between people, it's frequency. And there's so many different laws that govern the universe that as lay people, like normal people, we don't pay attention to that. We're paying attention to what we can see, what we can hear, smell, taste. There's another one that I missed, but the five senses: feel, duh, touch or feel. That's hilarious. So we're paying attention to what our senses bring in as if it's reality. And, with what I've studied all this time, plus the subconscious mind stuff, your subconscious mind alone is filtering through millions of bits of information every second. I mean, that blows my mind, the capacity that this little primitive computer has. I mean, think about the size of it. Remember when they first came out with computers, they would take up entire rooms. They were gigantic and took a bunch of energy. And we have these little tiny computers that handle every automatic and autonomic function, all the filing, all the retrieval of memories, breathing, heartbeat, all the digestion, everything that goes on, and everything that you have on autopilot, like driving to work or driving your kids to school. All that stuff is stored, brushing your teeth. Because I was having a conversation with someone about this today, we are not meant to multitask. Our conscious minds can only really focus on one thing at a time. Now, some people are adept at switching between tasks quickly. It's time for Lola. I should have a song. Come on. Oh, I know what she wants. Yeah. I'm going to get back to my point. So for Christmas, I bought Lola, the dog, this laser toy. It's automatic. It's on a stand. And when it gets dark now, she scratches at my door and she wants to go outside and play with the laser. And she's going to be annoying us. Or at least me. Hopefully not you. So let's see if I can find my point again. Where was it? I have no idea. We might have to go somewhere else. We'll see how it goes. Multitasking. There it is. Whoop, there it is. So some people are good at switching from thing to thing to thing. I am not one of them. I'm like, one thing I'm really good at is being 100% present with whatever I'm doing or whomever I am with. I have my phone on silent almost all the time so that it doesn't distract me, because I know, like, once my attention gets drawn somewhere, it might take me longer than it took me to get back to my point there. And it's a waste of time and energy. So I like to just remain focused with as few distractions as possible. So let's get back to energy. Years ago, Abraham Hicks wrote this book called Ask and It Is Given. And in this book, there is this scale, a chart, the emotional guidance scale. And there are 22 emotions listed there. And this is measurable. Every emotion vibrates at a different frequency. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza goes into this really in depth in his work. So if you're really interested in it, he doesn't talk necessarily about the emotional states, but he talks about frequency a lot. You could check out his online intensive and progressive workshops. I think it's just progressive now. And he has these charts of the 7 different energy centers or chakras of the body. And the lower ones, like the root chakra, they're vibrating very slowly, which means there's more density, there's more weight because it's super slow. And then when you get up higher to like 7, so there's 1 through 7, Dr. Joe talks about 8 also, but we won't go there. When you get up to these higher ones, they're vibrating so fast that they actually become a straight line because it's like so fast. So the third one is your stomach, your, oh, what the heck it's called? I don't remember right now, but it's essentially the stomach, the solar plexus. And anything above that is where you get to some Einstein stuff, E equals MC squared, where energy becomes, everything is faster than the speed of light when you get from the heart chakra up. And it's so cool because think about when you think a loving thought about someone, it gets there faster than the speed of light. And I think that's so mind-blowing. And I think everyone I've spoken to has had this experience where you think about somebody, you're like, oh man, I really miss this person, or I love this person, I want to talk to them, and they pick up the phone and call you. Or, you know, you've had those hits. I get them sometimes, like I got the bat signal, what's going on? And I just call people because they drop into my heart. And they're like, how did you know? It's because we're all connected through this invisible energetic field. And energy travels faster than the speed of light. It's so fast. And I just love that. So when you think a loving thought, it reverberates out throughout the entire universe and it reaches whoever you intend for it to reach. A lot of times, I know when I was going through spells, not spells, I mean, it was like a state of being of depression where I was just like, everything felt heavy. I thought that, you know, nothing I thought or did really made a difference. I really felt powerless, which is the very bottom. It's number 22. Hopelessness and despair is the very bottom of that emotional guidance scale. It's the lowest frequency. Anger, I think, is up 5 places from there. It's number 17, I believe. Don't quote me. It's been a while. But if you could get from hopelessness to anger, you're moving up, you're vibrating quicker. At least you have some life in you, right? So sometimes when I'm coaching clients, I'll say, reach for just one emotion higher on that guidance scale because you're moving up. And if you go too far, your subconscious mind is like BS detector. Like it knows you're not content. When you're feeling hopeless, you don't move all the way up to contentment. You could move up to doubtful, maybe, right? Or like, well, I doubt that it could ever get better. Or maybe you could get angry about something, which it doesn't seem like a great place to be. And it's not a great place to stay. But if you're using it like a ladder, like, okay, I could be angry for a little while, and then I could do this, and then I can move up. And then I can get to the top of love, freedom, bliss. And I think no matter what your state is, there's usually one person or a pet that you can think of that's easy to love. And I have people like that in my life. They're just easy. Like no matter what, I just love them. They can't do anything wrong. And part of it is like, there's no attachment to them being a certain way or doing anything for me. So for me, it's been a lot easier to do that outside of romantic relationships and outside of family. So with friends or even acquaintances that you really care about. Or a pet. Like pets for me are so easy to love. Like even if they're naughty, my dog likes to go through the trash and find delicious things when I leave the house. But I'm like, whatever. I still love her, even though I get to pick up some wrappers. Big deal, right? So if you can picture that person or that pet and hold them in your heart and think about the love you feel for them and just sit in that state for a little while. Just sit in it. And there are some Buddhist practices that are really good. I don't remember what they're called. I haven't studied this in a long time, but where you start with people that are easy to love, or maybe you start with yourself. Don't quote me on the order, but where you wish yourself well-being and you wish to reduce suffering or to experience no suffering. And then you wish that for your loved ones. And then you wish that for other people that you don't know. And then you wish it for your enemies or people that you don't like, right? And then it just goes out, and just tapping into that frequency of love, it changes your genes. It changes the information in the cells. And this has been studied by lots of scientists. So if you look at that space or the energy inside of a cell or an atom, it's also information. And it's so interesting to me how we've been trained to take care of our bodies and take care of, what we're putting into it, how we're moving, diet and exercise. You hear it all the time. I love at every Dr. Joe retreats, he says, yeah, you could be ingesting organic fear. And what do you think it's turning to in the body? But if you're doing something in love, like you're celebrating whatever you're eating, tiramisu could be delightful for your body. If you're in a state of love and appreciation and gratitude, as I always am when I'm eating tiramisu, then it actually becomes good for you. And I have a friend who eats a lot of sugar, and his belief is that is good for his body and it builds muscle. And the guy has a six-pack. I'm like, what? And he's in his 40s, right? Like, so your beliefs carry frequency. Everything is frequency. Your thoughts send out an electric signal. It's like your order, like your server is the universe. It's like, okay, what can I get for you? And you send out a thought. Your emotional state. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? That is the magnet that draws that thought to you. And when you get good at staying in that emotional state, being grateful for something before it actually manifests, before it happens in the 3D, then you shorten these timelines so quickly. So you can manifest things just like that. I mean, it takes a while to get the gears moving, in my experience. But once you do it, then it gets easier and easier. So what I like to do, especially if you're just starting out, what I recommend is play with things that don't matter. So maybe you want to see a blue butterfly. Then you just start thinking like how delighted you're going to be when you actually see a blue butterfly. And then you let it go. You release the expectation. I did that exact thing in a meditation at a Dr. Joe retreat. And I didn't specify how I wanted to see the blue butterfly, but we did a meditation. We went to lunch. I came back. This girl that I hadn't met before grabbed me and pulled me onto the dance floor. And we're dancing. All of a sudden, I look at her shirt and there's a blue butterfly. I'm like, oh, you're my manifestation. And she selected me, like of anybody. I mean, there were 1,700 people there. She grabbed me and took me to the dance floor. I'd never met her before, complete stranger. And there's a blue butterfly a couple hours later, an hour later, whatever. So it's little things like that. And then when you delight in them and you celebrate them, the universe gives you more things to celebrate. So I am teaching an upcoming workshop with a friend of mine who I actually met at a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat, who is a gifted psychic medium. She's been on the show before, Jennifer Miller McKenzie. And she and I are teaching this abundance workshop. And we're doing different parts and we're so excited. And we're we're showing and taking people through these exercises that we both have gone through to kind of, we call it unkink your financial hose. You ever squeeze so tightly, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where it's coming from and how can I ever get ahead? And you're squeezing so tightly that you're actually repelling money. So that's how it is with everything. If you're like thinking, oh, I'm never going to find a partner, when am I ever going to find someone? I'm too much, I'm too little, I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm that, all men are this, all women are that, then you're actually pushing it away. Or if you think, gosh, I really need it, I need someone to be happy to complete me, whatever, you're pushing it away. Now, what I have learned to do, and this was, it took a lot of faith, but one day it just hit me. I was like really stressing out about money. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. My savings account was drained, my 401k was drained, and I just had this thought like, oh my gosh, my bank account's about to go negative again. What am I going to do? And then this thought came in like, Karen, have you ever not had enough? Have you ever been homeless? Have you ever not had enough food? Have you ever not had clothing? And the answer was no. Like something always happens. I'm always taken care of. And in that moment, there was an expansion. Like I had been in this state of contraction and trying to control, as if worrying was going to bring it to me. And I just am like, okay, yes, I it's a form of surrender, but I have a really difficult time with that word because it's so conceptual. So for me, it was like softening into the knowing that I have always been taken care of. Things always work out for me. And so that became my mantra. Like I'm always taken care of. Things always work out for me because they do. Like no matter what, things always work out, right? So why stress? Why spend my energy, which is going to delay things working out, which is going to make it so much more challenging for me. And I'm going to get less sleep and all the things. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm trusting. I'm trusting that God's got my back. The universe has my back. I've been putting in all the work for years. For years, I've been showing up. I've been serving people. I've been having an open heart. And what I do is really, really good. It makes a massive difference for people. And I'm like, okay, I just released it. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The very next day, somebody who I knew, for many years, like 20 years, she said, I've been following you on Facebook for 8 years and I've been watching what you do. And I really need a coach right now. I'm like, what? Just like that money in my account. She Zelled me. It was in my account less than 24 hours later. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this really works to just let go and to release that grip. And then I did this thing with Jennifer, sounding out your soul's note, which actually sounded out, I had in mind like who I want to serve, who can I best serve? And I actually did this thing with her. We're going to do it in our workshop. And then people started coming out of the woodwork, like emailing me, texting me, setting up free calls with me. And these were like the most perfect clients. I'm like, where did you come from? Like I couldn't have, if I was writing a description, this is the person I can really serve the most. Those would have been the people that came to me and they just started coming. And it was that moment where I had a choice where I could worry and contract and try to control and try to effort my way into like abundance, or where I could just like say, you know what, I've always been taken care of. You're right. And just release the grip, like let it go, open my hands and release. And that moment really changed everything for me. And since that time, I'm an entrepreneur. And if you know what that means, it means usually we'll do a launch or promotion where we're selling something. And those are the times we make money. And the rest of the time we don't. Rarely. Like for most of us, it's like during a launch or a promotion, we'll make money. And sometimes we make offers here and there. But Anyways, I haven't done a single launch or promotion since that time, and I've created cash every single week since that moment where I'm like, okay, I just release it. So it's also been so good for my nervous system to not be worried about, oh my gosh, am I going to make any money? Is it going to go negative? You know what I mean? So the consistency has been there as well. So I want to just talk about that because we're going to be doing several of these things that worked for both of us. So Jen and I actually exchanged sessions. So I did these processes with her to open her up to receiving again, because she used to be like a master manifester, and then she had somehow like associated it with being overworked and burned out. Burned out, that's the word. And so she had closed off, and we removed the blocks, and she opened up, and she's been like a manifesting machine ever since. She even manifested the love. I mean, I don't know if it's the love of her life yet, but this amazing match for her. Like, it's so cool to watch. So anyways, you are invited to this class. I will post a link in the show notes because it's going to be incredible. It's not a lecture. You're going to do the things that you need to do. You're going to remove the unconscious blocks, and you're going to energetically align yourself to being that abundance magnet. You're going to unkink your financial hose. So watch for that. It's coming up soon. If it goes the way we expect it to go, we might do it regularly, because I think it's going to be tremendous, because so many people struggle with worthiness and receiving. And the more you want it, the more important you make it, the more the subconscious mind links it to your survival, which means that you're likely to go into a fight, flight, or freeze state, which prohibits you from connecting to your creativity, to thinking strategically. All you can think about is surviving, not thriving. So we're going to move all that stuff energetically. And I don't know if it's physical, but the clutter that's in your mind, we're going to get it into long-term storage. So it's going to be so much fun. I hope you can join. So thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I'm Karen Seltz, by the way. I forgot to say that. I hope this has been supportive. Please leave a comment and let me know what you got out of this. Let me know what you're creating. And I will see you right here next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.